Appreciate the perspective.
So let's talk a little bit about what people can actually expect in recovery. We've talked about you're in crisis, you present someplace and you need help, and then you launch in. I know there are a lot of individuals, having been around recovery a lot in my life, who think, oh, well, we're here, we get treatment, now it's all okay. But in my experience, it's an ongoing process. So talk a little bit about that experience and what somebody can be thinking about, either an individual or a family member.
You want to take that one?
Yeah, I mean, I will bring 4 points, for what to expect, for recovery. So if we are talking about somebody that is with addiction, so I will say the first thing that you need to expect is to have a treatment, high quality for alcohol and drug addiction. Number two will be teach basic skills needed for recovery. Number three will be connect people with best social supports needed to remain sober, what Andrew was saying, And number four, treat the whole person, body, mind, and spirit. And I would say treat trauma that is behind that, Also, there are some genes, things like that. So that's, something I will bring. And in terms of counselors that are specialized in drug use, will be just check that they are certified alcohol and drug counselors that can provide this service. They can be in different levels, with masters and even doctoral levels. And that's the hope. So the hope is, treat chemical dependency as a illness, And I will say definitely you want to look, like it's something that is treatable, like we can do something about that.
Great perspective.
I think it's also sometimes intimidating. I think we referenced this earlier on today, but I used to be a runner, and the hardest step was the step out the door, right? And that's the way I think it is with mental health. It's people might be, it might take a while for them to finally say, okay, this is it. And I think as family members, or friends, to give those people grace, because they have to, it's got to be on their terms. And that's something I think hard for a loved one too, is to sit with that, and you have to just hang in there with them and continue to encourage them to go out and seek treatment. But we as providers then also, we really have to be ready when that person is ready to make that step, to really engage them and try to work them in as much as we can, because again, it might take a while. And sometimes people, and I used to do therapy a long time ago, people would say, how long is this going to take? Like there's some magic number, and there's not, and I said, sometimes I would say, how long did it take you to get here? Because it might take a while. For some people, it's not going to take a while, and they just might have to work through a few issues, and they get that kind of taken care of, and they don't think they really need it anymore. Some people, it might take longer, and again, there's a whole spectrum of treatment. As somebody was talking earlier, I was like, I should talk about this Restore program. And this is when somebody who is having their first episode of psychosis. So it's the first time that, somebody is experiencing psychosis, and that's really frightening. For them, it's frightening for their families. It's a scary experience. There's a program called Restore, and that's funded through the state. And what that program does is it wraps services around for that client. So they have individual treatment, they have a psychiatrist, they have a nurse, they have someone that just works with the family. And because it's so important to get treatment early, that's something else to think about too, is if you can, don't wait too long to get in treatment, because the sooner you can get in, it won't take as long. And with this Restore program, they wrap all these services around people, and they're we call their baseline doesn't go down so quickly, so they can really get better and get better faster. And so that's a really, really neat program. And we've seen such amazing results. It's because people get in quicker, and then they can get all those services, and it doesn't take so long to get better.
It's great.
So-
It's the right service at the right intensity at the right time. And that's what we're all working towards as providers. I hear somebody in the chat mention 12-step programs. I'll tell you, I've been sober a day at a time for more than 26 years. And while I don't feel the urge to drink or use ever, and haven't for, decades, I do still surround myself with sober people. And like I said, feel uniquely useful to share that experience for someone who is new. Susanna talked about, how difficult it is to take that first step. That's the hope that, we are ultimately going to share in this session, is that it's been said, treatment works, recovery is possible. And you just have to take that first step. If you know someone that is struggling, someone that is desperate, it is so important to get them connected with services.